What is going on, everybody? Bobby Fire, Cheat Tabor. We're going to be talking through this MLB slate. It's a huge one. There is weather concerns, as we were just talking between Texas and Tampa Bay. Not a game I like anyway, so I have X'd it out. I think Sheets is going to do the same, and we will see what else we got going here. I did put a little slant on some of the stacks that I liked that we talked about earlier, but overall, it's a tough slate. Sheets. What are you looking at right now, and sort of where do you stand with some of
I have a couple of observation of thoughts that I want to share with you. So I did a guest thing. I promised them I'd help them out. I did a guest thing on the Ship It Nation thing where I helped with the Saber Sim stuff. Rio, and I did it with Rio just to kind of go through it. And he actually pointed something out to me that I wasn't aware of. I mean, if you're gonna play, I'll share this with everybody. If you're gonna play these like the higher buy-ins and like even like in the satellites and stuff, it might be a good idea before you just use the sim fields to take a look at them. I looked at, for example, the high buy-in, the 920, whatever, and now that's a short field. It's only 70 people, whatever. Mm-hmm. But when I looked at the field that it was basing it on, basically the highest exposure was like 2-man stacks in the field that they were using. So
for that tournament, okay.
Yeah. Well, even though it's not going to be all 5-man, it's certainly not going to be the highest exposure 2-mans. Okay.
Right.
So you have to be very careful. Honestly, just blindly and just completely trusting the contest fields. It's just so easy to kind of look at them, and I'll share kind of how to do that in a minute. But first of all, when I run my stuff first without running sims and everything, like just like best plays, pitching, I guess Rodon, Strider, Lopez, Green. I mean, nothing really changed, right? Kikuchi, some Kirby, I guess. And then it's funny. And then again, if you don't do anything, I'm getting like just an assault of like Kansas City, like 79% Kansas City. That's without simming or anything like that. Which just indicates to me that they're the best, projection point per dollar, I guess, play. And also probably means they're going to be pretty highly owned. I'm just guessing. So when I run these things, but before I run them, I do want to take a look at this real quick. So let me share my screen.
Yeah.
And see how to do this. So what you got to do is you go into the fields here. Let's just look at this qualifier. Like for example, you look at high stakes single entry, and if we look at if we click on this, like what we're looking at is the field that it's presuming everybody's going to play for the purposes of simming here. And when I see that, like the pitching exposure of that field looks decent. Rodon, Strider, Kikuchi. But let's take a look at the stack exposure. See that? Like 20% of the stacks, highest exposure are 2-man stacks. And I mean, to me, that's just not accurate. You know what I mean? Like that's just not going to be the case. So for something like that, I mean, I probably would want to change like the contest field. If I'm going to use the sims to build for that lineup, I might not even use the sims to build for a $900 buy-in anyway. You know what I mean? Like for a very, very short one, not because, I don't trust it, but again, but this high stakes single entry field, I think might be a little flawed. So like, let's just say instead of that, like there are other ones you could use. Like, let's say I wanted to build for, let's put high stakes MME, for example. Let's take a look and see what that one looks like. So the high stakes MME field, that's what they're calling it. That one, let's see, stack exposure again. Yeah, once again, it's like really like giving a whole bunch of these 2-man stacks. So it's very I would say fishy, but I don't know what else to say about it.
So how many
probably
players
shouldn't use it. What?
How many players are in it?
How many players?
How many entries in the 920? You just talked about the 920, right?
Yeah, but it's not just that it's the 920. It's that they're using this thing called high stakes single entry
Right.
as the relevant field. And so when we look at it, actually, this one's the high stakes MME field too. So if we click on this, it's just like a weird field, like team stacks. Okay, Angels, but then stack exposure, like a 5,000 entry. We have 5,000 lineups created, and 2,100 of them are 2-man stacks. So I don't know how I'm gonna handle this. In any case, let me at least run for the lottery, I suppose. Let's just see. Okay, let's just run the Sims and see what we get here. And I'm Xing out again everybody from Tampa and from Texas. Let's just see.
Well, one thing I noticed is that it was giving me, and partly because I did ask for certain percentages of some lineups.
Okay.
I went out of my way, and I don't usually do this the same thing you do, but I did delete some of the nonsense stacks.
Right.
While there isn't a clear winner, like if I was playing a tournament with 50 players or something, I do think that there's a pretty good chance that I would go away from stacking today.
Okay.
But if you were playing with, anything more than that, and that would be like a very weird tournament or whatever. That's why I was saying, because I was getting way too much of the 2-2s and things like 2-2 and then nothing else, and 3 and then nothing else. And I was like, okay, it's not just because I did this. There is something about how today rates where, but the truth is, with this many games, somebody's going to go off. It's just simple as that. It's just, there's no way. I don't see a non-stacking thing working unless you get some sort of a miracle. 2 guys hit 3 home runs and you have them and they somehow pair well with something else. I don't know. I don't even know what the route is.
I will also say that it is very, very warm in New York. I'll reiterate that.
After doing my things, which I asked for none of Cleveland, but Cleveland was my highest owned stack on SaberSim.
That's what I'm getting too
against Rodon. And look, I don't like it on a smaller slate. I would absolutely have no problem with it. On this slate, I don't think I need to do that. I still, even when I put the minimum, like I lowered the max exposure to 25% to see, it's giving me the full 25% then of the Cleveland. And I didn't change that much. I didn't really change much about Rodon. I didn't really change. I dropped him 1/10 of a point. And that's what I ended up getting to. But I think that those types of stacks, for what it's worth, are mostly going to be the Cleveland is almost all 5-mans. That's really bold. But I will point out something. Rodon has faced 135 at bats against him, only 23 strikeouts. Now most of those are between 2 guys, Ramirez and Santana. So it's not that. But the low strikeout rate against this team, I just feel like there's better options of ways to attack it. Now he might go out there and pitch a gem and all that stuff. I just think there's other pitching things that make a little more sense to me today. And I have leaned well into the Hunter Green pool.
Right.
Yeah, that's my highest owned by a pretty good ways. And I think that I'll probably end up a little below the field, like probably like 15% on Rodon is probably where I'm looking at. But usually I hand build my big ones, but I've got a bunch of big ones because it's the 111. So I'm not really going to do that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to make sure to late swap for one thing. And I'm especially going to make sure to late swap for this late part of the slate. You're going to know a lot by 6:20 p.m., 9:20 Eastern. And you've got a lot of good stacks late. So I am content to sort of mostly let it cook at that point. Maybe I'll take some are doing really well or something and maybe throw my own slant on it. But so that's where I'm at right now. I'm still trying to figure out, and I like some of the other things. Like I like the Kikuchi a little bit, although it makes me a little nervous. Strider I like a little bit, but it makes me a little nervous. But Peralta and Green are right now my 2 highest owned pitchers, and that does make me a little nervous. But I don't care.
But those are your upside guys,
Yep. And,
I guess you have to consider Strider still an upside guy, though.
Oh no, for sure, absolutely. But at low ownership, you're getting, you're talking about Peralta like at 10% ownership, and talking about Hunter Green, who you could have told me he was going to be 40% owned on this slate, and I wouldn't have blinked twice. it wouldn't. None of it would have surprised me at all. I wish the Cubs were on this slate because that would have been the easiest. I know exactly what I'm doing today, no matter what, but they're not.
Those Twins. The Twins lineup is not out yet, and they're going to be very popular.
Yeah, the Twins are going to be the most chalky, but even just because it's such a big slate, I don't think that anybody's looking at I don't think anybody ends up with 5 guys who are double-digit owned. I just don't think it's going to happen today. I mean, sure, look, in some tournaments, maybe some will, but not in the lottery. Well, yeah, I don't think so. I'm going to stick to my takes. Of all the hitters, you don't have. I mean, the highest projected hitter, even on your projections, is 17% owned. That's and there aren't many past.
Who's that? Bobby Witt?
Ryan Jeffers.
Okay, yeah, I guess so.
Is who you have? Yeah, because if he's batting third, 37.
Yeah.
He's good against lefties. Also, always pinch hit risk for Minnesota, but that's a separate thing. But the point is that it's usually you're going to see the 20s and a bunch of guys, but there's only, I mean, on your projections and on SaberSims, there's only 10 players who are over 10% owned. Now, you still want to get different in baseball because even if you have guys who are all sub 10%, it's really hard to find the sweet spot. If you get the 2%ers, I mean, 10%, that still means if you're playing the lottery, there's thousands of people who have those lineups. But I do think that you don't need to worry quite as much about ownership, with the potential exception of maybe Minnesota.
Right.
So I'm feeling good. I have a positive feeling about tonight's slate, and it's more positive than I felt in a little while. Except for last night after the start, when I was with different lineups, first in the lottery, first in the perfect game, and first in the ball 4 at one point. That was looking good because I had all the Angels, and then the Angels would stop scoring after that first inning.
Yeah.
But let's see. We got this, and by the way, I just want to throw an NBA thing out here because it's probably not going to stay this way forever. Actually, it already changed. I think the places are now plus 600 and OKC's minus 750. At one point, it was minus 900 for OKC, and the Pacers were plus 750. I don't care if OKC wins this series and just dismantles them. I just think that's too big of odds, considering that Indiana's they were 4.5. They were plus 450 against New York. They were plus 800 against Cleveland. And anyway, I can't wait for the finals because I'm actually just really curious, just as a basketball fan, how this is going to work, because these two teams do the exact same things. It just OKC does it better. But we'll see. I have a feeling this could be a really good series. And I also think that the sweep is on the table. All right. Back to baseball. So now I reran it, and yeah, the Dodgers and Mets are my highest owned, but that also just means late swap time. It doesn't mean that I end up with the Dodgers and Mets as my highest owned teams. It just means that I can rely on the late swap and just try to get the earlier games right, and let SaberSim, do a lot of the work for me starting at 9:20 Eastern. Maybe I'll make a little switch here and there, but mostly it's going to be SaberSim for me at that point. And I want to just re-encourage everybody, I shouldn't be doing this. Honestly, if people used to say, okay, you're giving away strategy, we're doing, but we tell everything the way it is. But if you're not late, just the advantage of just late swapping alone in baseball, just the fact that other people don't do it, it's just a huge advantage you got to try and take advantage of whenever you can, especially if you're playing a ton of lineups. I really think that you could be a profitable player just using SaberSim and late swapping.
Yeah, I think so.
And yeah, you might be a very profitable player. It's just doesn't happen that much. All right. We did get another lineup in, which I believe, who is that lineup? Let me just see.
Who came in?
Mariners, I think. No, Dodgers. Dodgers is in, but I don't see it yet. I just see that it's in on SaberSim. I haven't looked at who it is yet.
Also, there's that good jumbo thing on FanDuel tonight.
Yeah, should we make him $1 million bet whether Mookie's in the lineup tonight? Because there's no way he is, right?
Yeah, you really on that one.
Yeah, no Mookie.
There it is. Oh, you know what?
Nope. I was wrong.
Mookie's
in. Wow. So they couldn't pinch hit him last night. I'll never understand this for the life of me. You have a left-handed pitcher who you can't take out of the game because he has to face at least 3 batters. You got first and second, down by 1 with nobody out, and you don't bring in Mookie or Will Smith. You let Muncy strike out. Then you pitch hit Will Smith on the next batter. But all you had to do was have Mookie go up there, and Mookie could just bunt him over, and you're guaranteed a tie at least. So I'm very surprised he's in the lineup tonight. He must not have been at the game or something last night. I swear.
And then I just finished that one.
So let's see. Default's asking, when late swapping, are you updated owner? Are you updating? I think it's, I'm just going to translate. Are you updating ownership source to live field ownership? Or
yes, I think it happens by default. I think.
Yes, it does. At least as far as I've ever seen. So I'm going to assume that is what's happening. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Tommy Edman is not in the lineup. It was Tommy Edman bobblehead night, so I guess he gets the day off after the bobblehead night.
Oh, I thought it was tonight. He has a day off.
No, that would have been funny though. Gotta love Tommy Edman. That guy's awesome.
That's like an NBA move for like there'd be bobblehead night and then like Embiid is like out. You know, it's like
if you see Tommy Edman's like parents and sister, you would have no idea that guy. It's just shocking. Just he doesn't look like he's the same. You know, it's interesting. I was surprised, but I love the guy. Great family and everything, but very very surprising the way people look different from each other. Anyway, all right. So with that, the Dodgers thing, I'm gonna have to rebuild, but I'll probably have to keep rebuilding. So I'm not gonna do it now. So I'm getting, like I said, Dodgers, Mets. I still have a bunch of the Cleveland, which I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm debating. I'm probably going to lower it to a little less than 25. Then you get to the Minnesota. I'm getting to 17% of the A's, 15% of St. Louis. I am not getting that much of the KC, so that's interesting. I don't mind it. I just personally am not getting too much of it.
Yeah, I'm currently getting a bunch of the Minnesota. I also have this weird feeling that that Saber Sim, I want to say prioritizes, but you get more of teams that haven't released their lineups yet for some reason.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's just maybe it's coincidence, but I've just noticed that more often.
You've played with it. You've done it for longer than I have, so I'll trust it.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll take a look at it.
Deep is asking for what he's looking for FanDuel stack types on these slates. Look, I'll include 4-man and 4-2 or more. I would say though, mostly is what you want. Mostly looking towards 4-3s and 4-4s. Would you agree with that, Sheets?
Yep.
Okay. And
FanDuel for me, again, nothing. I ran it with the wrong team. I ran it with Tampa still in, so I have to redo it. Is there anybody you're getting more of on FanDuel than DraftKings of note?
So I'm only playing 2 hand builds on FanDuel tonight. Okay. I figure there's so much multi-entry stuff going on with the, like I said, right. The $5, the big 111 on I'm sort of just gonna hand build my FanDuel, and I think that I can just play whoever I want because I don't feel that any of these pitchers has a significant edge over each other, and I don't feel like any of the stacks may be owned quite enough. But one thing that I do like over there is that the Phillies may be a little bit cheaper over there, and that's one that stood out to me. So that's the one I noticed. Depot asking how the game was. Hey man, thanks. It was actually a really fun game at the end. It was kind of boring for a while, to be honest, without any hitting going on. But it ended up being very very disappointing. But also, I mean, it's a regular season game, so I don't really care that much. But it was pretty exciting. And I if people think the Dodgers have bad fans, I would dare them to come to Dodger games and see if there's other stadiums that stand up and go crazy as often as the Dodger fans do. Because I've been to a lot of stadiums. I've actually been to all but like 3. And I haven't seen that many that are like this.
I will say this. Now, again, the Yankee games that I usually go to are like during the week. It's not like, the biggest games or whatever.
Yeah.
But between you, me, and the wall, place is fucking dead.
That's funny that you say that, but I'm biased. I've been to like 3 Yankee games in New York, and 2 of them where Barry Bonds was there when he was in the middle of Barry Bonds.
Well, I mean, these are big games. That's what I'm saying. Listen, you go there in the World Series, I mean, or Barry Bonds or whatever, the place is a freaking mob scene, But I'm just saying in general, for your that's what I'm saying. Like for your regular season game, I mean, like it's pretty I mean, it's fine, but there's a huge difference between
some of the other places. Yeah.
Well, the thing what's the thing? Like in the NBA, like seems like the same environment, really. Like whether I go to a regular season game or a playoff game.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because it's always sold out anyway. You know what I mean? Like it's
right.
Right. And hey, people better get into it for the freaking money you have to pay for a Knicks ticket. I mean, like it's freaking ridiculous.
Yeah. And I mean, it's so that part of it is so out of control. It's actually amazing that they're as intense as they are because of that.
That's pretty funny.
I mean, that stadium is nuts. But it was funny because everybody was talking about how there was this talk during the playoffs about how, oh my God, how are the Indy fans going to even? They've probably never dealt with any energy like this. I'm like, have you guys ever been to Indiana? You know how they feel about basketball in Indiana? Like,
yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Those guys are crazy. Look. How about OKC? OKC's fans stand literally like the first half of the whole game. Like it's pretty nuts. All right. Building again.
I mean, the fans are like not that great at Yankee Stadium race, but I'll tell you what, Bobby, the food is amazing.
I bet your food is better than ours is.
Well, we have the Legend Suites. It's like freaking insane.
Oh yeah. So I'm like, I don't know how the Dodger Stadium did it. They somehow have gotten, like, I swear in the 90s, they had better food than they do now. It's not the same. It's like, and you can't find, like, we're in LA and it's like literally anywhere you go here, like you're seeing every calorie everywhere on even the nice restaurants menu. Like go to Ruth's Chris in LA versus other places. It'll tell you all the exact, exactly how much
is that right?
In your body everywhere. Yeah. But you go to the Dodger game and it's like everything's out the window. Like, eat as much junk food as possible. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty.
And how is that's I was about to say it's still in Chinatown, but like it is still. I mean, it's still Chinatown around there, right?
Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
Dodger Stadium. I mean, it's downtown. It's right next. It's when Koreatown's close.
Koreatown.
Chinatown's right there.
Yeah, I mean, is it nice Chinatown? I don't think I've been. I mean,
there's really nice parts of Chinatown.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, actually everywhere now has got like really nice parts. They've really built up the downtown area.
Okay.
But there's also like some of the worst neighborhoods you've ever seen in your life.
Okay.
Not too far from where I used to live. I told you this story a long time ago. I came back from a playoff game and we were walking back, or I was walking back because my friends I drove, and I ended up taking a wrong turn when I first moved downtown, and I it's literally in the middle of Squid Road. Like it's this. If you in the middle of the night, it's probably the scariest place you can be in the West Coast. Really? And it's just all the tents and people all come harass you. People will jump in front of cars, But I'm walking and people are screaming at me, going nuts. So I just decided the best thing was to take my shirt off and act like a lunatic and start screaming at everybody. And everybody left me alone. Pretty so funny. It was trying to think on my feet, but I don't know. It worked out well that time. I guess it could have gone another way, but it worked out all right.
Wait, so Kim is Kim playing? Kim is playing. Okay, that they don't have an ownership projection on him yet.
Yeah. Let me rebuild here. They'll get it. Let me see what we've got here. All right. So if I had to ask you, we all know who the top two are, but who do you think is actually tied for number two, I believe, as of yesterday? Who would be the other guy other than Ohtani and Judge? Who would be next in home runs this year?
Oh, who has most home runs, you mean?
Yeah.
Or who will have the most home runs?
Who does?
Oh.
It's hard to guess, I know.
I wouldn't have even known it's Ohtani and Judge, honestly.
Actually, it's Judge is third.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Ohtani's tied, actually, shockingly.
I think if you gave me 50 guesses, I don't know. Schwarber?
That's a guy we play. That's a good guess. He's like fourth.
Really?
Yeah, I think he is fourth, actually.
That's pretty insane if I got that.
Cal Raleigh.
I knew that. I didn't know that, but I did see that that he got one like MVP vote or something like that today, or something like that.
Yeah, but it's funny because
it was like 40. There were 41 people that get like 40 of them picked Judge and like one picked Raleigh.
That's funny. But they said it's pretty ridiculous that anybody would,
of course,
have it taken away from you at that point. But Cal Raleigh is, because you said last year, like you kept saying,
best. Right. And I will tell you something else about that dude. Man, that dude can strike out like nobody's business.
That's what he does.
He's really good at it, man. Like he does not get cheated, and he doesn't care where the ball is near the plate. He'll just swing at it.
Absolutely. And monster power. Do you see what they did? What they have in Seattle? Sorry,
and switch hitting.
Switch hitting, but you know what they have in Seattle now? That they I think they got scrapped it because it was so funny. It was all over the internet at first. they have so they call his nickname is the Big Dumper. So he would actually, people at the games, he would announce the breakup message over the thing instead of like the engagements.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
I mean, they had it, the Big Dumper night. So he would announce so is breaking up with you.
It sounds like a Key and Peele skit.
It does. I couldn't believe it was real. It may have even just been one night, but it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it's horrible, but it was funny. All right. So we're getting some more lineups in here. And as usual, there's always little changes. The A's looks a little different than what we thought, but close.
Oh, who's out? There's some. Oh, Edmund again.
I'm gonna rip the rebuild.
Edmund out. So why am I getting Edmund in my build still? Okay, no problem.
And what's happening with the A's pitchers tonight? Because the A's. Who's pitching for the A's now? They just changed it. Let me just do something real quick, and then I'll find out. I've seen 3 different A's pitchers today announced, or not announced, but speculated, and I think it's going to be Lopez, right? No, it's Grant Holt. So it's going to be a bullpen game for the A's, for what that's worth. Probably a little bit of a downgrade to Minnesota, but I mean, still totally playable, especially in that park where the wind's blowing out and it's 85 degrees. Yeah, that is something though. All right, so
why is okay?
And guys, any thoughts or questions? Feel free to fire them on in. And also pray for my Indiana 45-1 title.
What do you need? Oh,
it was weird at one point when they were ahead of the Knicks was it 3-1 or 3-2, and the other series wasn't over. They actually were 6-1, and now they're 7.5 to 1. It's really funny. They advanced and they have worse odds.
That's kind of nuts.
It happened one year with that was a big bet that I made. One year with the Ravens in football when they won the Super Bowl. It was like one of my first big bets, and I said that the Ravens were preseason and even going into the playoffs like 6-1, and by the time they got to the conference, because they were playing the Patriots, the conference the championships, the AFC championship, they were like 12-1.
I once bet the Philadelphia 76ers with Allen Iverson to win the championship. Like midway through the season, they were like 25-1 or something. And I bet on them, and they made it all the way to the finals against the Lakers. And going into the finals, they were like 15-1 underdog.
Yeah, I think they were 17-1. Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And they won the first game. I'm like, let's go.
I was at that game.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Iverson scored. And it's funny because we look back at time and people were like, oh, yeah, Iverson scored 50, but that could happen, whatever. He scored 51, I believe, and the team scored 90. It's a lot different. I wish that was the way they accounted for scoring, not just the raw numbers, because it's when you're scoring 40 and your team scores 140 versus your team scoring 40, your team scores 82. It's a lot different. And a lot of those Jordan games back in the day, he had a lot of numbers like that.
Yeah.
Because that was a very different era. Let's see. I want to see if Negreanu wins this bracelet, just out of curiosity.
Oh.
I'm starting to get. I'm just paying attention to things that I'm watching. Little tutorial videos, getting ready for playing some events. All right. What else is happening here? None will apply. Okay. Wow, I really like if I had to hand build like a couple lineups, I think St. Louis would be my feature. Yeah.
Who's pitching for Kansas?
And I never I think I'm just being stubborn, and I want to I'm so irritated because every time Lorenzen gets crushed all the time, and every time I stack against him, he puts up his best game of his life. It always puts up like 25 fantasy points, but then every time I don't, he's got negative something, and 3 home runs allowed and 5 walks and whatnot. All right, so wow, now I'm very heavy on the Dodgers with the recent changes for some reason. But Dodgers and Mets, that means I have late swap ability. That works for me. And maybe some of that ends up on that Orioles idea that we talked about earlier.
Oh, man.
I mean, George Kirby's looking at hasn't had positive points since the Eisenhower administration, as you would say.
Yeah. Let me see what I'm getting now. With man, there's so many guys whose lineups. I'm doing it again. I'm getting all my exposures, guys with lineups not like Mets, Minnesota, Angels. I'm getting some Red Sox. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be doing something with all my Minnesota exposure. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's gonna stay where it is.
Makes sense.
And like you said, who knows who's even playing? I mean, like,
yeah. Well, and even who's playing, how long will they be in the game?
oh, you think a lot of pinch hit rescue? You're saying?
Yeah, especially like they're good against lefties, but then once the lefty comes, oh no, it's not a lefty anymore. So now I don't even know what their lineup's going to be because no wonder their lineup's not out because the A's have changed pitchers 3 times today.
Oh Jesus!
And now they got and they're facing a bullpen game, which makes it even worse. And Minnesota, remember last year, you'd have like Edouard Julien hit a home run in the first, and then the second inning he'd come up again and they'd pinch hit for him.
That's true.
It happened all the time. Okay. And we'll see what happens with this. The Dodgers, it's a pretty good Dodger lineup, I have to say.
Kim is in. And now we'll build this. Let's see what FanDuel looks like.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on my FanDuel. Anybody else out there getting anything different or significantly different than some of the stuff we're talking about? I'm kind of curious to see.
So we're not getting at Cleveland anymore, or are we?
I have less Cleveland now. But I did put a cap of 25%, and now it's down to less than that. It's I've got them. Yeah, they're barely registering for me anymore.
I'll tell you, if you take a stand against Minnesota, you're gonna be very different.
I just think everything is got to be somewhat different. But again, even the Minnesota game being late is kind of interesting because I'm curious to see where I'm going to be late swapping because I have so much of the Dodgers, Mets. I have some of the A's. I have some of Minnesota, and then I also have some of the Seattle. So I will see where it goes. I guess of the early games, Philly and the Angels are my highest owned with St. Louis.
Okay,
and I'd like to get a little more. I think of St. Louis if I can.
All right, I'll let you guys know who I'm getting to on FanDuel here. I'm just simming this out right now. And again, just so everybody's clear, I am Xing out the Tampa Texas game.
Yes.
Don't need it. You know what I mean? I just don't need to get to it. You know,
Same
there are other 2% owned teams. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that are actually playing. You know, they're
okay. So I'm looking at. I'm just gonna take a double check on the weather on that one because the only thing that worries me is that both pitchers have tremendous upside, especially Rasmussen. But I don't want to mess with it if I don't have. I mean, there's every pitcher is similar on this slate anyway. At the moment, looks like.
So in FanDuel, just for kicks, I have updated projections. Great, too late. Pitching looks like. Hold on, I gotta go to contests. I wonder who I'm getting to. I'm actually pretty curious. Let's see. Pitching. Kikuchi #1 on FanDuel.
Wow. I mean, I guess it's the pricing too. He can get in.
Then Strider.
That must mean you have Dodgers. If I had to guess.
Team stack. No. #1 exposed team are the Milwaukee Brewers. Followed by KC, Minnesota, then Cleveland. So FanDuel frisky today.
Can I ask how many lines you're playing in that one?
3.
No. In the small one in the lottery.
60.
Yeah. So okay, I guess with that many in this lottery, it's not so. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. If anything's 15, I always play 60. If it's $15.
Yeah, I usually do 40. That's my
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
thing.
If it's $5, I'll go 150. But for 15, I'll
where
go.
I'm at,
Yeah.
so.
Oh, I actually have more. I have 5 in the Deuces Wild today. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
All
What
right.
does it say? Source build 4. I don't want that. Wait, hold on a minute here. Hold on a minute. Squeeze type. Field lineups. No, I want. I'll do high stakes MME there. The squeeze I'll do.
Hey, Eagles, good to see you. Good to see you, AJ. K9 says KC in St. Louis on DraftKings. Oh, I think it makes a lot of sense. Well, just so you know, like it's 85 degrees in St. Louis with 13-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to left.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Man, when you go to games, you really see the difference in these, why those things matter so much, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, the ball just died at the wall like at least 5 times last night, and it looked like shots that not necessarily were going to be gone, but they certainly would have been gone if it was 85 degrees and with 13-mile-an-hour winds blowing out.
Right.
All right.
I have to redo this one. This channel.
She was so nice.
Milwaukee on FanDuel, Andy says, is who he's getting to. That's interesting. It's interesting that Sabersim is going against the Hunter Green. We'll see how it goes. Let me just double check. He's got some history against these guys. He's probably not as good as
Hunter Green.
Yeah, because he's faced them enough. I mean, the same division. Yeah, it's true. It's true, K9. Some of the nice hitting parts, but it's no guarantee. It just means it's a little bit better for you. There's plenty of games that bust in Coors, but what it is. Yeah, not that much history. Only 2 starts against them. That's okay. I'm gonna stay here, but I have to answer this. My son is calling me, so I'm just gonna grab this real quick and mute myself.
Oh, good group of people here tonight, Bobby. Maybe we could, somebody will win something tonight. That'd be nice. So, again, for those of you that are following, we're going to do a golf, preview tomorrow.
Yeah, we got golf getting ready for golf, and then we got next week we got a major again. So.
Oh, that's the U.S. Open, right?
Yep.
I'm psyched for that.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Nice big tournaments too.
Go out to Evan and Wendy have a place out east. We're gonna go there at Fire Island. Actually, we're gonna go out there. We're gonna go out for Father's Day. Hopefully, have a good sweat there.
Nice. He said he was telling me about it. It's pretty cool. He sent me a thing about it a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
He said if I'm ever out there to come out and visit. I think he's just pumped that he loves the place, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. Eagles is asking if you're ready for MMA this weekend.
Yes, but again, just so you guys know, I'm going to do one video probably tomorrow or first thing Thursday, and then I'm out. I'm not going to do a live construction video or anything like that. I'll try to cover as much of it as I can tomorrow. And it's really interesting because it's like I'm away I'm out of the country, and here in New York, like 2 enormous events: the Belmont Stakes, and the UFC thing. And I'll try to remember to do something with the Belmont Stakes from where I am. We'll see if I look.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, so do this real quick, and then Scott's asking, did he miss the winners? So I said for me, I'm lower on Rodon, higher on Green and Peralta at low ownership, and I have a lot of the late games, but I'm going to let late swap do its business for me a little bit later. But the Dodgers, Mets, I like the Phillies, Angels, and St. Louis, KC, and Minnesota are the main teams I'm using. I know it sounds like a lot, but there's a lot of games out there, so that's who I have exposure to right now.
I guess I'm good.
Yeah.
I will hopefully see you somebody here near or at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, sounds good, man. All right. Well, good luck tonight. Have a good one, and good luck, everybody. We'll see you guys soon.